Boy, do I have an interesting Nerf Mending episode for you today. This is so big, I can not only not fit it in frame of the camera, it won't even fit on my workbench. This is a Mattel Ultimator that I got from Green Screen Man, who bought it for me as a Christmas gift. I cannot thank him enough because these things are incredibly expensive. To my dismay, the thing is not working properly, and it wasn't when I got it. Now it's even worse. So the way this is supposed to work is you crank this thing and it slowly pulls back a tension spring, and you should see a metal washer come back all the way here through this vent. Mine gets maybe a little over a third of the way, so I'm not getting the amazing recoil that I should get with one of these things. My initial reaction when it wasn't working right is, oh god, I'm not going to be able to get this thing apart without breaking it. And then this guy reached out to me, did a late night FaceTime, and showed me how to get it apart and minimize shell damage. All you have to do is get a small screwdriver, and I just kind of hammered it into this front ring and made the screwdrivers bigger and bigger because I have multiple sizes. And I just slowly worked at it, twisted them a little bit, and got a satisfying click, and this just came right off. And all you have to do is pull the shell apart, and this whole thing should come right off, so you don't have to do anything to the back ring, and you don't have to cut the foam pad where your shoulder rests. My recommendation to you if you're going to try and get this apart is if you feel the need to force it, please don't. You're only going to break it. Taking the back shell off exposes this right here. You'll see when I crank it, this thing moves back. This part should not move. It has a pad there, and this metal washer kind of hits it. And yeah, these things are very heavily reinforced because the spring in here, for what I heard from the person teaching me how to take this apart, told me it has the force of a garage door. Yeah, don't be sticking your fingers in there. But if you do want to get this nut off to get inside the plunger tube, which is enormous, like the biggest stock plunger tube I've ever seen, if you want to get in there and re-lube it, you're going to have to hold both of these nuts and twist them opposite ways. And I just lost the metal rod. Where'd that go? I was looking for the issue with this, and I couldn't figure it out until about an hour ago. I have a general idea of what's wrong with it. When I hold the shell closed, of course, it doesn't want to catch very easily. I bet I didn't get much out of it. Yeah, it didn't even catch at all. But when I let the shell kind of open a little bit, you can hear the parts engaging properly. That's what it should do. So something is rubbing. The trigger was pressing up against this side of the shell, so I cut a little bit of space there to see if that works now. Yeah, there we go. Much better. Oh yeah. Next is an Ultimator knockoff. It's actually made by Toy Quest, a decade after the Ultimator came out. It's a nicer version because I think this one's going to come apart a little more easily. It actually has the same issue that my Ultimator had, where it doesn't catch after maybe 2 cranks, but this has sort of a ratcheting mechanism in there. I heard that can be an issue with these, but it doesn't appear to be. Oh, there's some rattling in there. I don't know if you could hear that, but yeah. I hope this comes apart fairly easily. To my surprise, this came apart just like a normal Nerf blaster. I just had to take out the screws and pull half the shell off. There was no prying or anything. And all of this, the whole plunger tube assembly, just comes out self-contained. Look at the size of that plunger tube. I'm betting that's longer than the Ultimator, if not just a little wider. Don't mod it. It's too rare. Okay, gotta resist that urge. I'm guessing that's not supposed to be missing all of that plastic. If it's not messing up because that plastic is missing, it could be blocking something in there when it broke and fell in, because I don't see any of it floating around anywhere in the shell. Upon further inspection, taking it all the way apart, this has very fantastically killed itself. All these parts just fell right out, which means they were broken off, and one of the washers is rusted. So this was not well taken care of at all. But if it's not completely broken and impossible to fix, I'm gonna fix it until it is. At this point, I'm putting it back together to test it. What I used in here to repair this, or use what was left of this piece, is called Q-Bond, and it has this metal powder you would apply on something, and it'll slide off, so you want to not tip it around too much. Then you use this super glue that soaks into it, and it hardens in 5 seconds. What's really cool is you can stick masking tape under something and put the Q-Bond on there, and I was actually able to cast missing sections like here and there to reinforce this. I'm betting because this was already disconnected, that's why it wouldn't catch, and now it appears to be catching. After firing it a couple times and not even getting full power, it's gone. I bet it's just dead. Ready to see what fell out? I don't know what kind of horrible plastic this is made out of, but I'm not fixing that. Instead, I've got a 3D printer, so I'm gonna model a piece exactly like this and make it out of PLA. I guarantee it's gonna be stronger than that. That is awful. I should not have done that in here. I don't want to damage the missile or my bench, but it works now. I don't want to take this back apart, but if I do, I will show you a picture of what the new catch housing looks like. You can see the old one is out of it and destroyed. I'm actually throwing that away. There you go. The files will be available, but they're not finished by any means, so you will have to do a lot of sanding. I think this took me about 10 hours of sanding before it actually fit and worked somewhat correctly. Because I had to do that, this might be the most difficult repair I've ever done on this show, and one of the most difficult repairs I've ever done just in general. Yeah, Bonsai Ultimator knockoff. Now I'll give you a little bit of a more normal repair I've never had to deal with on my channel. I received my inbox blue Retaliator today. It was a little disheartening to see it arrive like this. This is how it was sitting in the box, and it wasn't like the pictures. In the pictures, it was complete. It's missing the barrel here, and the magazine is the wrong one. I go to pull this out, lots of old streamlines in there. Upon further inspection, I found this living stink bug crawling around in the magwell. I hate these things. If I take this apart and there's more of these in there, I'm burning this Retaliator. I have 3 complete ones. I'll just take the best one out of all 3 I have and put that in the box. I don't need this thing at all. But why would I have to open this up in the first place? Well, on top of everything else, if you can guess, it's jammed. There better not be any more stink bugs in here. Oh, I hate doing that so much. So this is a very common issue with Retaliators. This piece right here in the back of the bolt sled is supposed to go down, click, and stay caught. Sometimes from the factory or wear and tear will cause these to not catch very well anymore, and you see it shot up and now it's hitting the plate under the plunger tube and will not travel forward. Here is a clear Recon with an orange ModWorks kit in it. This is the second orange ModWorks kit I have acquired, and this one actually does not seem to work in this Recon. It gets stuck right about there. And since this is a clear blaster and already has a crack right there on this tab inside the slide, I don't want to force it, so I'm going to open it up and be gentle. It works with the stock spring in it. I shouldn't dry fire that, but it's polycarbonate, so it should hold just fine. Yeah, it works, but... oh! Did they leave the locks in there? Yeah. Oh, wow. They put all of the locks in here. They put the lock in the bolt sled. Why would you do that? I could understand that for safety reasons. You know, if you're clumsy like me. I personally would not leave that in there. bet that's catching on something. Well, that's a tight fit. Yeah, I'm still not comfortable with that, and that's the stock spring. I found out this spring that it's supposed to take is a little bit bent, and that's what's keeping it from priming all the way. I don't think that I would put this in this Recon even if I fixed that, because these clear blasters are getting so old. The plastic just doesn't have the strength anymore. Works with the stock internals. It did not have an access door, so I closed the slide on my pinky, and that really hurt. But I did have a spare orange one. I'm pretty sure that's what the clear and Sonic Recons had, and that works just fine in there. And oh, there's a crack right there, too. Jeez, that really did save this Recon's life.